You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagine podcast, episode 134. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagine podcast. I'm your host, Robyn Jackson, and today we are continuing our Versus series, and we're going to be talking about the difference between working in your school, working on your school, and working beyond your school. But before we do that, I do have a couple of really cool announcements. The first one is that we are still in the middle of our 12 days of buildership. So during the month of December, every weekday, we are sending out another resource absolutely free. And we have some incredible resources we're sending out right now. We have a resource on the signs of a toxic school culture. We have a whole guide for how you overcome a toxic school culture and build a healthy school culture. We have our fail-safe feedback framework, one of our most popular resources. And if you want to get access to these resources, there are a couple of ways you can do it. The first way is that you can sign up for the resource each day. So we're sending, if you are a part of our School Leadership Reimagine mailing list, you can just, when you get the email every single day, you can just click on the resource. Every resource is live for 24 hours, and then it evaporates and we go to the next resource. So that's one thing. So you can do that. And if you're not already a member of the School Leadership Reimagine mailing list, why aren't you? We send you the episode every single week, plus all sorts of other cool things. And to sign up, you can simply go to schoolleadershipreimagine.com and sign up. Now, if you are a member of the mailing list, you can do it that way. But if you want to hold on to these resources and keep them for as long as you're a member, the easiest way to do that is to join Buildership University. We are going to load all of these resources inside of your account in Buildership University, so you have access to them for as long as you're a member. And you can join Buildership University absolutely free. You don't even have to, you can get all these resources for free, plus all of the other resources that are inside of Buildership University absolutely free. And so if you want to do that and maintain that access to these resources, plus get access to all of the resources we're uploading every single month, plus our live Ask Me Anything sessions where you can get on and ask me anything, get help with whatever you're working on. All of that is available to you inside of Buildership University. And to do that, to join there, just go to buildershipuniversity.com and you can sign up there for a free account. Or if you really want an upgraded experience, go ahead and upgrade to VIP, the Buildership University Insider account. That is such a cool community of people. They're my favorite people ever. And inside of the Buildership University Insiders, we get together every other week. We have live office hours. We do work sprints together where we're building things together. We have a party coming up this week, and we are sending out party boxes right now for the party and during the party, each party kind of has a theme. And during this party, we're going to be sharing some of our favorite hacks, tools, things that we use to make our work a lot easier. So we're sharing those during the party. We have a book club where we read a book probably once a quarter, once every other month or so. And so they kind of say, hey, Robyn, is there a book we can all read to help me with X? And then I go find a book and then we read it together. This month is really cool because the author is going to be joining us to talk about the book. And so when I try to invite the author to talk about the book. And so this month we had the author coming to talk with us exclusively about the book. So all of those things are happening inside of BU Insider. And again, to join, go to buildershipuniversity.com. Now, Builders Lab. We still have, I think we have a little bit less than 20 seats left in Builders Lab. That's still plenty for you to grab your seat or for you to bring a team member or to bring several team members. And one of the things we're going to be talking about today is the difference between working in your school, on your school, and beyond your school. And this is one of the main reasons why I really think you need to bring a team to to Builders Lab. Bring to Buildership University too, but I'm specifically talking about Builders Lab here because when you come to Builders Lab, you have 3 days where you can step away from your school. And if you're having the kind of school year that a lot of the builders that I'm working with are having this year, you need those 3 days. You're so in the weeds. It's hard to kind of take a step back and be strategic. And before you know it, the school year's over. And the only thing you'll be able to say about the school year is that you survived. I want you to do more than survive. I want you to thrive. And so if you come to Builders Lab in January, it'll give you an opportunity to take a step back and to strategically think about how you can move the rest of the year forward, how you can move your school forward during the rest of the year, so that when you look up at the end of June or whenever your school year ends, you can see progress. You can see that you've built some things that you can start building upon for the following school year. You wouldn't have just survived this year. You'll have thrived. So Builders Lab tickets are still available, and you want to go to mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. That's mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. All right, let's talk about this versus. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I don't know that I was quite sure how to talk about it because this is really a business concept. So there's a book that a lot of entrepreneurs read called The E-Myth. And in that book, it makes a distinction between working in your business and on your business. And the trap that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into is they start a business, selling pies, and they're so busy making pies and giving pies to customers that they never take a step back and build the real business around making pies. And so they stay stuck and they stay small. But I've noticed a similar phenomenon in schools. There are a lot of principals who stay stuck. They are so busy working in their schools that they never work on their schools. And then there's even a worse phenomenon because some of them may steal a few moments to work on their schools, but they never work beyond their schools. So their schools stay stuck. And so this is a marker of a great principal. A great principal doesn't ever stay stuck in the work or on the work of their schools. Great principals look beyond where their school is currently, and they think strategically about where they want to take their schools. That's what makes somebody a great principal. We've been sold a bill of goods if we think that we're ever going to become a great principal by just working hard in our schools. And a lot of people right now, that's what they're doing. They think that being a great principal means that I come in, I'm the first one in the building every day, I'm the last one to leave, I work hard, I'm always stressed out, I sacrifice my weekends and I sacrifice time with my family, I sacrifice my hobbies, I sacrifice my health because I need to stay at work. When I was in the principal intern program at my school, the training program, the Aspiring Principals program, when I was still in the school district, one of our colleagues died at his desk on a Saturday, and they didn't find him until I think that the next night or the following day, because he was in the building on the weekends, and he was working so hard trying to become a good principal. He was an assistant principal, and he was trying to do all of his assistant principal work, and he was trying to build his portfolio to become a principal, that he died at his desk. And I remember when that happened and how it kind of struck us that, I thought to myself, it's no job is worth dying at your desk. Now, I don't know that the job killed him. I'm not saying that. But that's not the story that I wanted to be told about my life. She died at her desk. And yet, when I looked at how I was working, how I was being trained to work, that story could have been in my future because I was always at work. I was always there. I was always at my desk. I was in on the nights and on the weekends. I was staying late. I would come to work in the dark, and then I'd go home in the dark. And I was so busy working in the school. So I was in charge of the master schedule, and I was there working and getting the master schedule right. I was doing my observations that I had to do. I was getting into classrooms. I was making lunch schedules and then alternative lunch schedules when those didn't work. I was doing my duty on the bus duty every single day. I was even doing things like riding the buses for some of the buses that were having real problems with kids. I would ride the bus for, a couple of days to get the bus settled down so that wouldn't be an issue. I am handling all of the teacher problems and handling all of the student issues and going to all of the committee meetings and all of the leadership team meetings and creating agendas and showing up at the teacher, the PLC meetings and making sure I'm providing support there and doing research to make sure that I'm keeping up with best practice and attending conferences and on and on and on. And all of that work was work in my school. And it made me a good AP. But that's not the work of being a principal. One of the things that I often tell first-year principals is that one of the things they don't prepare you for is that as a principal, your work should be shifting from doing work in the school to starting to work on and beyond the school. It's a hard shift. A lot of first and second year principals are really trying to do the work that they were doing as an AP and taking on the principal's work, and they've lost sight. They don't have that vision. They're not driving the mission and the core values of the building. They're not thinking beyond. They think that if I'm going to be a great principal, I've got to roll up my sleeves and do the work. That's not your job. That's not the gig. So if you find that you are spending a lot of time working in the school every single day, that will make you a great AP. It will not make you a great principal. Now, what will make you a great principal? Well, great principals are thinking about the bigger vision of the school. And so this is the difference between trying to work in the school and working on the school. A great principal is putting systems in place to make the school operate better. That's what a good principal will do. They will start working on their school so that the school itself is better because they put systems in place. They're not spending all their day putting out fires and chasing symptoms. All right, so if you see a problem that is occurring over and over and over again, you put a system in place to fix it. So you are doing the master schedule. You're not just doing the same master schedule you've done every single year that you've ever done the master schedule. You're looking at the schedule and trying to figure out, how do I make the schedule best serve my kids? And you're creating a master schedule that will do that. That's the difference between kind of working in the school, doing the day-to-day duties and tasks and managing all the interruptions, versus working on the school. What do you need to do today to make the school better? When you hire the right people for the job, you're working on your school. You're making your school better. When you build a master schedule that actually does a better job of serving kids, you're making your school better. When you put structures in place that are designed to make sure that you are optimizing learning for students, you are making your school better. You are working on the school. That'll get you pretty far. But here's what builders know, and this is what separates builders from even people who are considered really good principals. When you're a builder, you don't just work in the school. You don't just work on the school. You also work beyond the school. This is where that strategic thinking comes. You're not doing the day-to-day task. You're not even tweaking some of the systems that are happening in your building to make your building run more smoothly. You have created a vision that you haven't realized yet, something that involves success for 100% of your students. And so when you create a master schedule, you're not just working out the kinks and trying to optimize learning. You're creating a master schedule that gets you closer to that 100% vision. When you are designing a discipline system, you're not just kind of tweaking the system to make it more efficient. That's working on your school. You're working beyond the school that you have right now and designing a disciplinary system that does the work to eliminate most of your disciplinary issues. That's a different kind of work. You see, we were trained to work in the building, so we get very busy, we work very hard, we do that work, or we were trained to work on our school and we start putting systems in place that make our school more efficient and effective. But if you're ever going to be truly great, You can't approach your work the same way that you were trained to approach it. You've got to think beyond the building you have right now and start putting into place the building blocks of the school that you dream of, the school that you envision, the school where all of your students are successful. And that means that you have to re-examine some of the systems that you have in place, not tweak them, overhaul them. You know, we did a couple of weeks ago inside of Buildership University, we did a sprint, a system sprint. And we did something that we hadn't done before. We were trying a new approach called system mapping. And by the way, I love system mapping. This is something that you can do yourself, where you map out a new system. And what you do is you design the system for the school you want to build, not tweak the system that you already have. And so people were bringing their systems together, and we were mapping them out together and critiquing each other's systems and giving each other support around it. And the big challenge that I kept making to the builders who were participating in the sprint was this. Yeah, that is a better version of the system you have, but have you considered whether or not the system you have is in alignment with your vision, mission, and core values? And in most cases, it was not. So I said, let's take it off the table. What would that system look like? And it's amazing that we're so in the weeds, we never take time away to sit down and think about what should the system not look like? Not what does the system look like now, but what should it look like? What is the system we should be designing? Well, that's what we did. And what was amazing is that we realized that a lot of the steps that we have been taking, a lot of the things that we thought were sacrosanct about how we did school in every day, were just really artifacts from somebody else's dream, somebody else's vision, and they really didn't match where we were headed. There was a better way to do things. The problem is that so many of us are so far in the weeds that we can't see beyond where we are. So we just put our heads down and we work and we work and we work. And it's like being on a giant treadmill, because you work harder, but if you're working harder in the existing system, well, the existing system is the system that's making you work hard. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You cannot outwork the system that you already live in, because the system is designed to give you the results it's giving you. So working harder is not going to change the results. But that's what many of us do. We are stuck working in our schools, and we don't realize that there's a better way. We don't think there's a better way. We don't think that there's even time to dream about a better way or imagine a better way. And so we stay stuck. Now, some of us realize that that is a trap, working solely in our schools. So we try to put aside some time, on a weekly or monthly basis to work on our schools. So we sit down with our leadership team and we say, hey, our discipline system isn't working. What can we do better? And we design a new detention slip, or we create an alternative to detention, or we say we need PBIS and we add more work on top of the work we're already doing by trying to incorporate PBIS into a system that already exists. Yeah, that's working on your school, but is it transforming your school? Is it making your vision more likely? We often work on our schools when we sit down and we say, hey, I'm going to redesign the master schedule. And so we're going to move to a block schedule, or we're going to move to, we're going to try to add another period in the day for students to work on things they want to work on. And while those tweaks may give you a few results, they never get you to 100%, because you're just tweaking a system that already exists. You're working on your school, but you're not thinking beyond what already exists. If you really want to be a great principal, you need to step away from what already exists. And you need to look at what's coming. You need to pay attention to the way the world is going. You need to pay attention to how things are shifting politically in your district. You need to pay attention to some of the trends and patterns that you're noticing in the school. You need to pay attention to your staff and their current capacity and how they might grow and what they might need in the future. You need to pay attention to how your community is changing, what those community demographics are looking like, and how that's going to impact the kinds of students you're going to be getting into your school in a few years. You need to be paying attention to the trends in education. I see all this conversation about reading. We swing back and forth between phonics and whole reading and something in between. Pay attention to those trends and think about what does that mean for your students. If you've got a vision that 100% of your students are going to be reading at or above grade level by second grade, you really need to pay attention to what the research is telling us, the latest research is telling us about reading and what it's going to take to help students become readers. Whatever it is that you're trying to build, you need to take a step back and just look at how things are going. Because, I was saying this quote the other day inside of BU Insiders that, there's that Wayne Gretzky quote, which he says, "I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where the puck is going." And that's what you need to be doing. And can't do that if you're caught up in the weeds. You can't do that if you are stuck thinking about lunch schedules, or you're spending your whole day addressing discipline problems that are really a symptom of a bigger broken system around relationships with kids. You need to be able to step back so that you can look at the symptoms, notice those patterns, and then start thinking about what is the root cause and what can I do to address the root cause so that I eliminate problems rather than simply batting at problems and, temporarily solving symptoms, but not really solving the entire problem. If you really want to be a great principal, you've got to get yourself out of the weeds. Now, I know it's hard. I mean, many of you would love to do that, but instead you're spending your day subbing for teachers who are absent, covering lunch duty for teachers who are absent, filling out contact tracing information for entire classrooms that may or may not have been exposed to COVID, talking a teacher off the ledge. You're doing that kind of work, and it feels like I don't have time to do it, so you just put it off maybe next year, but you can't afford to do that. So here's what I'm proposing and challenging you to do this week. We've got to start shifting from staying in the weeds and doing work in the school. We even have to start shifting away from doing work on our school to thinking beyond our current school and starting to think about what kind of school do we want to build. So my challenge for you this week is simple. I want you to find an hour, just 1 hour, where you think about your school beyond where it is to what needs to happen to get your school to where you want it to be based on your vision. Now, I know that an hour might seem like a luxury. I mean, I can tell you that this month has been a really busy month for me inside of MindSteps. I'm doing a little bit more traveling now, and we have a lot of stuff we have to do, and we have a condensed time to do it because we will close down MindSteps between Christmas and New Year's. So I don't have the whole month to get it done. So I'm trying to condense all of that work so that when I take that time off, I can really take that time off. And so I have been doing a lot of work in MindSteps and on MindSteps, and I haven't had a whole bunch of time to think beyond. And do you know what's happening? It's creating this low-grade level of stress inside of me because my subconscious is thinking about that vision. My subconscious is working that out, but I never have time to really give myself the space to think about what's happening, and I'm losing sight of what it's for. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I had a particularly challenging week. It was crazy. I was getting up early. I was working late. I was, normally I try to kind of stop work at a certain time and go to dinner. I try to practice what I preach. But I was finding that I was stopping work, eating dinner, and then picking back up work and taking the laptop and sitting in bed and working until 11 or 12 o'clock and at night. And it just isn't a sustainable thing to do. And it goes against everything that I preach here on this podcast and I talk to our clients about. And I found that I was doing that. And because I was so busy working in and on MindSteps work, I was not thinking beyond. And it was affecting me. It was affecting my satisfaction with my work. I was losing focus. I was just getting caught in the weeds. Not only that, but I was absorbing a lot of the stress of the principals that I serve. On a monthly basis, I talk to hundreds of principals. I'm working with hundreds of principals directly. So not just talking to them in the podcast, but working with them directly. I see the stress on their faces. I see the challenges that they're facing. And I was absorbing their stress because I was so busy in the weeds with them that I couldn't see the other side. And so when you're in the weeds, it feels very stressful. And I was absorbing that. And so I forced myself to take an hour, just step away for a minute and think beyond. And I was doing it on two levels. I was thinking beyond for mind stuff, but I was also thinking beyond for some of the principals I'm coaching, beyond what was happening right now, getting back to their vision for their schools, thinking about what we needed to be doing next in order to help them to make that progress this year, to show that progress, to move them closer to that vision that they're so passionate about. And I had to tell you that just that 1 hour, giving myself permission, just 1 hour to do that, to step away from everything and to think, has given me such a major breakthrough. You're going to see some of this next year. In fact, that 1 hour away helped me think about what my next book is going to be about. So I'm starting a new book, and I can thank that 1 hour for giving me the idea, the germ. The book has been kind of percolating for a while. I didn't know it. It was in my subconscious. Just stepping away for that 1 hour, I was able to come up with an idea, to let it take shape. And now we have a new book that's going to serve thousands of principals all over the world just from that 1 hour. If you don't give yourself permission to just step away an hour at a time, to think beyond your current school, to dream, to let the patterns that you're noticing kind of gel in your mind and start to make sense in your mind, to think about what's working and what's not working, to analyze the trends that you're seeing around you so that you can play ahead of where things are rather than always reacting. To start thinking about what is the root cause of why we keep having the same problem over and over again so that you can actually solve the problem once and for all. If you don't give yourself time to do that, you will constantly stay stuck. So this week, I just want to invite you 1 hour. And there's no agenda for that hour other than you can't work in the school. You can't work on the school. You think beyond. Go back to your vision. Think about what vision you started with. What is that vision for 100% of your students? And if you don't have a vision and you want help with that, then you need to come to our next vision workshop inside of Buildership University. We do a free vision workshop once a month. And the workshop is where you come in and you get personalized help. It's first come, first serve basis, but you come in, you bring a germ of an idea. We help you formulate that into a fully articulated vision. So you walk away from that call with your vision cemented. But just spend some time thinking about your vision, revisiting that. What is it that you want? What is that outcome you want for 100% of your kids? And what's standing in your way right now? What is getting in the way? What's keeping you from moving forward? And challenge yourself to go beyond COVID. Challenge yourself to go beyond, I'm playing substitute teacher all the time. Challenge yourself to go beyond, I'm losing staff members left and right and I can't get a good sub. Challenge yourself to go beyond that. That's in the school stuff. That's what's happening right now. And start thinking about what's the bigger systemic issue that's taking place. Where are the trends? What's holding your teachers back? What's something that you could do right now that could move your school towards that vision? Don't limit yourself to tweaking what exists. Think about what you wish you had, what you might build, what you could create if only you had the time and resources to do it. Because I find that even if it feels impossible, just by dreaming it, there's this saying that if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. Just by giving yourself time to dream of a solution, you can recognize it when you see it. You can put building blocks in place to build it. So you want to give yourself time to do that. All I'm asking for is 1 hour this week to dream, to go beyond the school that you have right now and dream of the school that you're building. I promise you that hour will be well spent. People talk about self-care and okay, great. A massage, love a massage, love, foot rubs, love a cup of tea and a Lifetime or a holiday movie or whatever. I love that stuff. That's great. It gives me a chance to recharge, but that's not moving my school forward. You want some self-care this week? Give yourself time to reconnect with your vision. Give yourself time to dream beyond the school that currently exists. Give yourself time to mull over some of the bigger, deeper root cause challenges that your school faces, and give yourself time to don't put pressure on yourself to come up with an answer, a solution. Just give yourself time to mull it over without the pressure of having to have a Band-Aid solution on that problem 2 seconds after you started thinking about it. Give yourself space to dream. I've told this story before, but when one of my first jobs, I worked for a man who was an entrepreneur, owned a business. And I used to tell my father at the time, all he does is come into work and he puts his feet up on his desk and he stares out the window. Being a millionaire is easy. Shoot, I can do that. What I didn't realize he was doing was he was visioning beyond the current business he had. He was thinking about new business opportunities. He was working out challenges that his business was facing in his head. That time was not a waste of time. He wasn't just staring out the window. He was using that time to do what only he could do. You see, your teachers are teaching and your APs are doing a lot of the management of the school, and your guidance counselors are counseling. And, the job of the principal is to figure out where are we headed as a school and how do we get there. That's your job. That's what being a builder is about. You're the only person in the building for whom that's in their job description. That is your role. And yet, how often do you spend time doing that piece? Everybody can cover a classroom. Anybody can do the contact tracing. Only you can develop a vision for your school and figure out how to make that vision work. That is why you're there. So I know there are demands that get in the way. I don't want to minimize those. What I'm asking you to do is to be intentional this week, just 1 hour. Then see, after that hour, try to make it a habit. I'm not asking for a lot, 1 hour a week. Put your feet up on the desk, stare out the window, and start thinking beyond the school you have to the school you want to build. I promise you, it's going to pay off in spades because you are not working on your school. You are not working in your school. You are thinking beyond your school. And doing that is going to generate all kinds of ideas and help you solve problems that feel insurmountable because you are reconnecting with your vision and you are using your resources to do what only you can do, which is to figure out how do I move my school forward, and you're doing it like a builder. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today.